All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I have for you guys today, Big Ramy. Big Ramy has been kind of on a roll in terms of actually giving us a lot of physique updates and training videos. So it seemed like pretty much for the majority of the year that Ramy was holding the Olympia title, we didn't see much of Ramy. We didn't see his physique. We didn't really see him training. We didn't see him posing. We saw a lot of throwbacks, but we hadn't really seen much recently of him. But over the past few weeks, and as we get closer to this year's Mr. Olympia, it seems like Ramy has been more and more active on social media and more willing to show his preparation process to defend his title. So Ramy most recently posting these updates on his story, doing some curls. And you can see a little bit of how Ramy is looking. You can see a little bit of vascularity in his arms, but for the most part, my takeaway from these stories was that Ramy looks absolutely huge. Now, combine that with the fact that we saw those photos of Ramy a few weeks ago that Chad Nichols and Dennis James confirmed to be recent. We saw how small his waist is looking. We saw how good of a shape he's already in because they are recent. Then I think you can combine that with these videos where Ramy is looking really bigger than ever, full, round, and combine that with the fact that you know his midsection is going to be on point because we saw those pictures already. We know that his conditioning is probably going to be good. Things are starting to look very good for Big Ramy and his odds of defending his title. The bottom line is I'm impressed by what we're seeing from Big Ramy so far, and I'm actually grateful that he's giving us a little bit more access because we kind of complained about it, that we weren't really seeing as much from Big Ramy. And ever since I mentioned that on the channel, it seems like he's been posting a lot more, which is good. He doesn't have to reveal everything. He can keep some secrets to himself, and I'm sure once he gets to like the 4 weeks out point, he's probably going to shut it down and not show anybody too much. But the fans want to see something. Thumbs up if you agree. Now, also in the news, Brandon Curry's coach posted this on his Instagram story, what appears to be a clip from a recent training video of Brandon, where Brandon does look good. But keep in mind, Coach Abdullah has been known to post videos that are old and not recent. So who actually knows if these things that get posted of Brandon are recent or not? But because we showed a recent training video of Ramy, I thought we had to show this recent training video of Brandon Curry, assuming, again, it's recent. You never know with Coach Abdullah. He likes to play some tricks here and there. But because Brandon Curry was second to Big Ramy in 2020, on paper, he's going to be the favorite to give Big Ramy the biggest run for his money at this year's Mr. Olympia. So those are your top two from the 2020 Mr. Olympia, and you got two updates from them right off the bat to start off this story. Now, speaking of the Olympia, let's get into something that really interesting here. So this was posted on the This Is Bodybuilding Instagram page. They have a screenshot of a comment from Jake Wood, and Jake Wood is essentially he is the new owner of the Olympia. He's the top dog in charge. He bought the Olympia rights from AMI, and this comment is in reference to the female competitor that passed away this weekend, who was intending on competing at the Europa Spain show. And apparently she passed away right before the show. Her name was Elena Hatvani. So that is the context of this comment. So I'll read you guys the comment here. It says, I am deeply shaken by the loss of Elena. I'm not one for empty words. Instead of making posts, I'm making changes. I had a productive meeting with Jim and Tyler Mannion this morning, and we're all sickened by this turn of events. We agreed that conditioning is overemphasized in the judging criteria, and something must be done. So this right here is the part that I want to draw your attention to. So let me read that again. We agreed that conditioning is overemphasized in the judging criteria, and something must be done. I will push for changes in all divisions. Coaches and athletes play their part too. I will not say any more here as it may be counterproductive. Criticize me and my organizations as you may. I don't care. What I do care about is greater athlete safety. With that said, I will admit that we've been slow to post a memorial. I am just dumbfounded by the meaning of this and am determined to prevent it in the future. I had the utmost respect for Elena Hatvani, and I want her passing to have meaning that lasts. So first and foremost, I think it was awesome that Jake posted this, and it's awesome that he actually seems to care about the athlete's well-being and the athlete's health, and that he doesn't, like he said, he doesn't want to make an empty post. He actually wants to make changes to prevent something like this from happening in the future. And he wants Elena to leave a legacy that lasts in the form of changes to the judging criteria. Now, he does specifically say here, in all divisions, not just the women's divisions. Now, the reason conditioning, I would assume, is the focus here is because one of the more dangerous parts of bodybuilding is the diuretics. Not necessarily the gear itself, but the diuretics right before a show, which plays a heavy part in the actual look of the conditioning. It's that paper-thin skin look is what that helps with. And that's one of the more dangerous aspects of professional bodybuilding. And that, I'm assuming, is what he's trying to prevent by saying that conditioning is overemphasized in the judging criteria. So I'm kind of curious to get your guys' perspective on this in the comments below. Like I said, I think it's well-intentioned. I think it's a good thing. But what does this actually mean for the judging criteria? How much change will be implemented? Will conditioning be less important in men's open bodybuilding at this year's Olympia? And what does that mean? Will that give an advantage to bodybuilders that maybe aren't known for conditioning, and maybe we'll see them thrive and do even better? I don't know, but I think this post went over a lot of people's heads, and this could be a pretty major, important change in bodybuilding. But again, I think it's really good that we have someone in charge of the Olympia that actually cares about the athlete's safety. I think this is a very good thing here. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Now, next up in the news, a physique update from Rafael Brandao, one of the bodybuilders who I wanted to see make a return to the bodybuilding stage for a long time now. Rafael, very aesthetic for a men's open pro bodybuilder. I think he's got a great physique. He's had a lot of setbacks, and he hasn't competed in a while. I'm trying to think of the last show he did. I guess it would have been last year's Spain. But one of the bigger setbacks that he had was he actually got the virus, and this physique update is after that. So he's rebuilding his physique, he's making improvements, and we know that he is prepping for the Romania Pro, which I believe is in November of this year. So he'll be trying to earn an early qualification for next year's Mr. Olympia, which I think will likely be a wise move on his behalf. Now, next up in the news, I wanted to give you guys the full perspective on the situation with Redcon 1 in Arnold Schwarzenegger, and specifically the clip that Redcon used in their clip where they announced that they will no longer be sponsoring or supporting any of the Arnold events, including not only their sponsorship money, but appearances of their athletes apparently will not be had at any of these events. So what I'm going to do is I want to roll the full context clip. I want to give both sides of the story, as always, the full context clip of where Arnold said, "Screw your freedom," because there was more context to it. Again, I'm not going to give any political commentary, any opinions of my own on this piece, but the full context of that clip, I think, should really be included. Now, whether that makes any difference or not towards how you felt about the statements, that's for you guys to determine, but I do want to roll the full context clip, and I'll roll the Redcon clip again after that to give you guys a full sense of what was said and the context of why it was said. Because, like I said, I think that's fair. And just like the last video, you guys can comment in the comment section below how you guys feel one way or another about this issue. I will not censor either side, and I will not give commentary on either side myself.
First of all, you have to understand that as soon as the virus happened, and we have finally people, more and more people from government have, kind of acknowledged the fact that there is a virus. And they were kind of very late, may I remind you, in warning the people. But finally, when they did warn us and it did spread, and we had to kind of cancel our Arnold's Classic Sports and Fitness Festival in Columbus, and we were only allowed to have a limited crowd last March, meaning a year and a half ago. That's when I realized that we all have to now come together on this thing. And so I started putting posts out there about washing your hands regularly and wearing a mask and to do social distancing and to follow the kind of rules that the experts put out there and to face the fact that this is here and this is going to grow and it's going to expand and it's going to really affect a lot of people's lives. And so now, cut year and a half later, we are still in a mess. And, there's still people that live in denials. There's still people that don't believe in masks. There's still people out there that say, well, we don't have to do social distancing and all this kind of stuff. And I just think that people ought to be reminded over and over that the experts are saying that we have to wear masks, especially when you go indoor. The experts are saying we still should wash our hands regularly. We should still do social distancing, especially now with this new comeback of the virus, which is the fourth round now, that we have to really go and work together on that. And there is misinformation out there. And my point of it was basically, look, I'm an expert on how to build a bicep. And so therefore, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I've studied this issue. I know exactly how to create this peak and all this stuff. There's no one that knows more about a bicep than I do because I studied this issue for 50 years. And the same is also with the virus. There are people out there that are experts that study this year after year after year, and that are experienced, like Dr. Fauci, that has been in this, probably for his entire life. I mean, why would you not believe someone like that? So, and there's so many other scientists out there and experts on this subject. So I believe them and I follow them very carefully. And of course, sometimes things are happening that are unexpected. So then you have to make the adjustments and all that. But I think people should know there is a virus here. It kills people. And the only way we prevent it is to get vaccinated, to wear masks, to do social distancing, washing your hands all the time, and not just to think about, well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom, because with freedom comes obligations and kind of responsibilities. We cannot just say, I have the right to do X, Y, and Z. When you affect other people, that is when it gets serious. It's like no different than a traffic light. We put a traffic light at that intersection so someone doesn't kill someone else by accident. So this is why we have a traffic light. You cannot say, no one is going to tell me that I'm going to stop here, that I have to stop at this traffic light here. I'm going to go right through it. Yeah, then you kill someone else, and then it is your doing. So this is the same thing with the virus. You cannot go and not put a mask on, because when you breathe, you can infect someone else, and you can infect someone that then gets sick and may die. So this is why I think we all have to work together on this. The only way we can lick this virus is, again, if we do like I suggested earlier about politics, we have to come together rather than fighting and always just saying, this, according to my principles, this is a free country and I'm going to have the freedom to wear no mask. Yeah, you have the freedom to wear no mask, but you know something, you're a schmuck for not wearing a mask, because you're not supposed to protect your fellow members around you. It's just that simple. So this is the way I feel about it, and that's why I am out there and talking about it and tweeting out about it and doing videos and all this kind of stuff, because I want people to understand. I don't want to villainize anyone here, but I just want to tell everyone, let's work together and let's stop fighting, because there is a virus and it's better to get vaccinated and to wear a mask. Screw your freedom, and not just to think about, well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No. Screw your freedom.
After much deliberation, we have decided at Redcon 1 to no longer sponsor the Arnold Classic or any of the Arnold events around the world, and also not attend the Arnold events. And this is a very difficult decision, because me personally and everybody at Redcon 1 has always loved Arnold. Since I was 13 years old, I remember Arnold and Predator doing this to tell everybody to stop, and me looking at that with my dad and saying, that's cool. That's what I want to be. I want to be just like this guy. And over the years, I've overlooked a lot of stuff. You probably too, have overlooked a lot of stuff with Arnold, where we say, well, that's just Arnold, right? And, because we love him so much, we just keep overlooking and overlooking and overlooking. Well, unfortunately, his most recent comments.
And not just to think about, well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom.
So when somebody says screw your freedom, I can't, and Redcon 1 can't in good conscience continue to spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars sponsoring that person or a show with a name, honoring that person. So there's no way that I can continue, Redcon 1 can continue in good conscience supporting the Arnold Classic for the future. And I really wish that wasn't the case. And this is certainly not a partisan issue. I'm not saying right, left, whatever. America's great because there's freedoms. Arnold is free to say the things he wants to say, right? He may say things I totally disagree with. Somebody else may say things that I find disgusting, but that's what makes America great. You have the ability to say it, I have the ability to disagree, and I'm voting with the Redcon $1 that I don't want to be any part of that. And that's what makes America great, the ability to choose to wear a mask, to choose to get a vaccine, to choose or not to choose, and that's okay. If you do, that's great. If you don't, that's great. But when you say screw your freedoms or you're a schmuck or a moron or anything else because you disagree with somebody, I'm not for canceling anybody. Don't cancel Arnold, but don't support him if you're me, right? If you like it, go there. I won't be there, unfortunately. So if you're looking to see Kai Green and the rest of the Redcon 1 athletes and myself, unfortunately, you won't. So that's all I had to say about that, and thank you.
And the final story that I have for you guys today, a pretty weird comment that I saw from Iain Valliere, and I wanted to address it. He tagged me in this comment where he says, I was kind of confused at first, but then I saw the context of it. So he said, "You need a kick in the nuts, bruh." And then I clicked the comment to see the context, and then Still My Packer says, "Am I the only one that thinks Nick from NSP needs a kick in the nuts?" So that was the context of the comment. I'm assuming Iain was joking, but I'm also assuming he probably actually doesn't like me. But I want to clear something up here. People are going with this narrative that I don't like Iain because it seems like I'm critical of his physique. Keep in mind, I said I thought he deserved to win Texas. At the end of the day, I thought Steve Kuklo slipped at the night show. I think Steve looked better at prejudging, and that's why I had Steve winning at prejudging. But when Iain won the night show, I said Iain deserved the win because I felt that Steve had significantly slipped in from a conditioning standpoint at the night show. So just because I'm critical doesn't mean I don't like the guy. I actually do like him, and I do like his physique. But I'm giving my opinion. Bodybuilding is entirely opinion-based. And if you can't handle that, you probably can't handle bodybuilding. The winner of a show is literally determined by a judge's opinion. The whole thing is subjective. That's why it's so fun to have a commentary channel and to listen to commentary, because bodybuilding is commentary-based. It's opinion-based. Different people think different things. But people seem to infer there's some kind of beef between me and Iain. I can't speak for Iain, but personally, I don't have any beef with him. I like the guy. I like his physique. I like him as a bodybuilder. All I do is give my opinion on these guys, and you guys can agree or disagree. I'm not saying what I say is right. It's my opinion. But don't try to spin it into some kind of beef that I have with Iain, because I don't have a beef with Iain Valliere. In fact, I gave him props. I gave him a lot of praise for how he looked at the Olympia last year, because I thought he was one of the most improved bodybuilders from New York to the Olympia. His Olympia appearance, I think he looked fantastic. In my personal opinion, I'm comparing him against that Olympia appearance. I think that in Tampa, he looked significantly off from where he was at the Olympia, and he even said he weighed like 10 pounds heavier, so he was trying to be fuller, but I don't think he looked as sharp. He even said he was 10 pounds heavier than he was at the Olympia. Then he only had like a week between that and Texas, and I think he still, at Texas, looked a little bit off from where he was at the Olympia. So my main criticism really is comparing him against the Olympia version of Iain, which I thought was fantastic, but I thought at both of these shows, all he did was enough to win. Compared to the Olympia package, I don't think he improved from there. I think he was, I don't want to say worse, but I don't think he was as good as the Olympia package, and that's what I was comparing it against, and that's why it seemed critical, because I thought we were going to see an even better version of Iain after the Olympia package that we saw. But like I said, it is what it is. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thumbs up helps out a lot, feeds the video into the algorithm. Make sure you comment down below your opinions on any of these stories. That's always fun. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet already. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.